This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Acting Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander, during that virtual press conference on Monday, told reporters that the Royal Bahamas Police Force will establish a unit to focus on domestic violence. This follows the unfortunate suicide death of young mother Carissa Culmer, who was found hanging last Thursday at the Landshark Hotel on West Bay Street. The acting commissioner says authorities are taking a focused approach, quick action, and swift justice with respect to domestic violence.
I'm not for that. I've suggested to the commissioner that moving forward, that we identify a unit just to deal with domestic violence, working closely with the crisis center and social services. And we are doing just that. We are managing that from CID department, and we're going to do just that and to help victims out there. And we're going to take nothing lightly.
Acting Commissioner Fernander adds that he is aware that there are some claims out there from the public that the police do not take domestic violence reports seriously. However, he says the force is continuing its training of officers. He also provided an update on the alleged suicide. The acting commissioner says officers still classify it as a suicide and are awaiting the official autopsy.
We have noted, based on our check, that there was 2 murders made by the deceased last year. There was 2 murders brought to our attention. They were investigated. The first murder was investigated. The individual mentioned, the alleged boyfriend, he was charged, went before the court, and he was placed on probation for 1 year. He did just that. And there was a second murder where she was assaulted again and was arrested, charged by officers, and eventually the deceased person, the victim, she withdrew the matter in court. Withdrew the matter in court. So at this present time, we are still treating that as a suicide at this time.
Since the matter, there has been a video of the victim talking about the abuse she faced from her alleged boyfriend. The acting commissioner pledging to take nothing lightly when it comes to reports of domestic violence.
About 2 weeks ago, an 84-year-old lady was pronounced dead, a sudden death. It came in as a sudden death from the eastern area. Some relative called in and said they met their loved one on the floor, alone in the house. And at that time, no visible injuries were seen. But based on information from our pathologists, they discovered that the lady died from some strangulation. And there was some injuries noted to the neck after carefully examining the body by the pathologist, some injuries to the neck.
Big news for the University of the Bahamas. The university's board announcing its new president today. And could the class of 2022 see the return of any in-person graduation ceremonies? Our Austin Fernander tells us more.
The University of the Bahamas, the country's primary tertiary education provider, has announced the impending successor to its sitting president, Dr. Rodney Smith, whose tenure is set to come to an end in July of this year. In a press conference held today at the Harvey Seymour Library Information Center and Auditorium, Chairwoman of UB's Board of Trustees, Allison Maynard Gibson, named Dr. Eric Rowland, formerly of the California State University System, as the university's next president.
I'm pleased to share with you that the Board of Trustees has selected the candidate whom we believe is the most capable, qualified, and suitable to lead the university through an era of bold transformation. This follows a rigorous search and assessment process. The selection of the next president of UB comes at a seminal moment, not only in the life of the institution, but the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Based upon the attributes mentioned, the board has selected as the next president Dr. Eric Rowland, an academic leader with 30 years of experience, who has successfully steered the process of accreditation at another higher education institution. He will be UB's second president. Dr. Rowland's appointment takes effect on the 1st of August, 2022.
According to Chairwoman Maynard Gibson, Dr. Rowland, among two other frontrunners, were chosen from a cohort of some 79 candidates, but ultimately, Dr. Rowland was selected for the position as a result of his extensive background in the tertiary education space, among other, quote, mission-critical qualifications.
All 79 applicants who offered themselves for the position were thoroughly assessed based on that position profile. Those candidates were then narrowed down to a listing of semi-finalists and subsequently 3 finalists who were referred to the board for review and a decision. We deeply considered the feedback solicited from various constituents and held scrupulous deliberations. The next president has the qualifications, experience, and skills to meet mission-critical objectives, namely, the knowledge, insights, and experience to achieve international accreditation, the vision and competence to implement sustainable financial and operational models for fundraising, and the capability to integrate 21st century technology modalities throughout the institution.
In addition to the appointment of the new university president, some good news for UB seniors. The Board of Trustees also announcing the possible return of an in-person graduation ceremony. Take a listen.
As advised by the president, that is exactly our desire, to have an in-person graduation ceremony this year. We can't at the moment say what the venue will be, and we can't even confirm that it will be in person. All of us know that COVID-19 has its own mind, a mind of its own. So, God willing, as long as we continue on the recovery path that we are on, we expect that the graduation ceremony will be in person.
Reporting for JCN News, I'm Austin Fernander.
The Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute, in collaboration with the LJM Maritime Academy and the Department of Labor, hosted an open house ceremony today to highlight the partnership between the trio. A key focus of this open house is to spread the message to young persons, particularly those whose education was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, that they should take advantage of the free education and certification being offered as a result of the government's partnership with BTVI and the LJM Maritime Academy.
There are many job opportunities currently. I see people coming in almost daily to my office asking for trained Bahamians, skilled, certified Bahamians. We need to be ready. Now is the time. The window is open. If you have an interest at all in the trades, please talk to us about these programs. They're short, they're module, and in particular, something that I've come to realize that most students like, they are free. The government has scholarships to support these. And I implore you, if you're a parent listening to us via the stream, if you're a student, think about these opportunities. You can be certified by the summer of 2022. Now is your chance to do that.
In addition to its traditional trade courses, BTVI, through its partnership with the LJM Maritime Academy, is now offering workforce certification courses to provide the necessary seafarer certification for those looking to enter the maritime workforce.
The opportunities of work, they are there, but our persons need to be skilled. And as Dr. Robertson has said, if you are certified here at BTVI with additional certification from LJM Maritime Academy, you are doubly certified. So in other words, if you have a cosmetology certification from here and an SCCW certification from LJM Maritime Academy, you can work at ports, you can work on vessels on the seas, cruise lines. You have all the other, I should say, industrial type working qualifications or certifications with the SCCW. You can work on bulk carriers, you can work on gas tankers, you can work on oil rigs. So the opportunities for you are wide. Take this opportunity, young people, and parents, if you're listening, please encourage your young people to take this opportunity serious.
Labour Minister Keith Bell was present for the ceremony, and he notes that this tripartite venture by the Department of Labour, BTVI and LGM is crucial to the development of Bahamian youth. He adds that the better certified and qualified Bahamians become, the stronger our nation's workforce will be, noting that his ministry issues 10 to 15,000 work permits annually, and this number can and will drastically decrease should Bahamians take better advantages of opportunities such as this one. Another repatriation exercise led by the Bahamas Immigration Department. This time, the exercise saw 123 Haitian nationals repatriated to Port-au-Prince, Haiti from Freeport, Grand Bahama. At approximately 9:21 this morning, a Bahamas Air charter left Grand Bahama with 50 adult males, 34 adult females, and 39 minors. This exercise comes less than after 2 repatriations took place from New Providence, with a combined total of 178 Haitian nationals. Immigration officials say all COVID-19 protocols in this exercise were followed, as the health, welfare, and safety of our officers, law enforcement counterparts, and migrants remain of utmost importance in this COVID-19 environment. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bolek contends that the South Beach community pools have been sitting inoperable for the past 3 years, and on Monday the minister teamed up with South Beach Member of Parliament Bacchus Roll to reopen the pools, with plans to ensure the facility is maintained and used regularly by the general public. Drino Saunders tells us more.
After touring the South Beach pools and other sporting facilities in October last year, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, and Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Bacchus Roll, returned on Monday to officially reopen the South Beach pools with the promise of making them more accessible to the general public. Using Hurricane Dorian as an example, Mr. Boleg says, with climate change and rising sea levels, every Bahamian should be encouraged to want to learn to swim.
We were able to now bring the pool up to standard that would allow the residents and the public at large to come and utilize these facilities. That's what these facilities are here for. When you look at climate change, and it's important now that, everyone in the Bahamas, we live in an archipelago of islands and we need to learn how to swim, all of us. We've seen what happened in Grand Bahama, we've seen what happened in Abaco during Dorian. And the mere fact that some of those persons might not have been able to swim, but if you learn how to swim, you have a chance, at least 50-50 chance of survival. And so it's important that we open up these pools to the public, to the aquatics federations, and to the high schools.
Mr. Boleg says the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, along with the Ministry of Education, are collaborating efforts to increase the number of swimming programs in public schools. According to Mr. Boleg, the South Beach pools have been inoperable for the past 3 years. The pools underwent a number of minor upgrades and repairs before reopening. Minister Boleg says he expects to see activity at the pools immediately, noting that access to the community pools will be organized.
The pools are open. As soon as clubs, private persons and those who wants to come here and utilize the pool, we would have someone here as soon as possible before the week out where they can come in and make phone calls and make appointment to use the pool. You're going to have to make appointment so that we can have some organization on who is using the pool at any given time. The Swimming Federation has already made it known that they want to advise us when the clubs are going to come by and utilize the pools. We also want to use these pools in preparation for when we decide to make some repairs to the BK, ensure that it doesn't break the opportunity for those swim clubs to continue their operation and preparation.
Meanwhile, as the South Beach Member of Parliament, Mr. Bacchus Roll, described the reopening of the pools as a wonderful day for his constituency. He thanked the government for seeing the importance of reopening them. He says in order for more Bahamians to access the pools on the southern tip of the island of New Providence, he would like to see a bus route service that area.
We're excited that this is happening. We want to say thank you to the minister and thank you to the hardworking staff here who would have done the resurfacing to ensure that the pumps are operational, proper chlorine mix. This is an outstanding job, and we truly appreciate the minister and the ministry for doing it. This shows the commitment really that the government has to bringing communities back together. One of the things I campaigned on was to probably look at rerouting a busing system for the back for South Beach itself. And so that's something that we're looking at. We're also, from a community standpoint, we're looking at cleaning down a lot of the bush to ensure that the pool is seen and it's seen as a safe place where families can come and enjoy.
Meanwhile, Mr. Boleg notes that his ministry will also be responsible for the upkeep of the pool at the Fox Hill Community Center, which can be used by those residents in eastern New Providence, along with another pool located in Jubilee Gardens off Gladstone Road. This facility is currently inoperable. However, the government will attempt to reopen it for residents in the Southwest. Jarino Saunders, JCN News.
It was on Sunday, March 15, 2020, that the then acting health minister Jeffrey Lloyd announced to the country that the first case of coronavirus, now known as COVID-19, has made its way to Bahamian shores. The virus was in a 61-year-old female. Director of Infectious Diseases and manager of the National AIDS Center, Dr. Nakia Forbes, was present when the news broke and has remained a constant voice during the pandemic, which today marks 2 years. JCN News spoke with Dr. Forbes on Monday, a day before the 2-year anniversary of COVID, and asked the doctor if it was ever a thought the country would have recorded over 33,000 cases and over 700 deaths.
So in the beginning of this, all scientists were optimistic that this would hopefully go away, but that did not happen. It spread widely, and it is something that is here to stay. But the good news is, over time, our immunity would be better, and since we have a better understanding and developments to protect people, to prevent getting very, very seriously ill or dying, we are in a better place than we were 2 years ago.
The country's healthcare system took a beating while riding out 4 waves of COVID and several variants. And while manpower and infrastructure were both burned out by the demands of the pandemic, Dr. Forbes says that healthcare system was very much challenged during the Delta and Omicron surges, having over 100 patients hospitalized at one time.
So there were times over the last 2 years, we've had 4 waves of COVID and various strains. We had Delta and Omicron and even Alpha and Gamma. All of those strains were more contagious than the original COVID strain. Some of them were more deadly, like Delta and even Alpha. In the waves, when we had the surges, our healthcare system was quite challenged. It was very difficult. And the COVID beds were in demand, and non-COVID care was also compromised.
Throughout the pandemic, health officials and policymakers have put in place a number of COVID-19 restrictions as mitigation tools, from lockdowns to mask mandates. Over the last few months, the public has seen the relaxation of a number of those restrictions. Many have asked, what will it take to get to an endemic? Dr. Forbes explains.
Right, so the definition of that word is it's when a disease is regularly occurring within an area or community. For example, if it's always going to be there, if it's going to flare up and settle down, for example, that is what we mean by endemic. Okay, and it is abundantly clear that COVID-19 is always going to be here as a form of circulating respiratory virus.
As of March 12, 2022, there are 101 active cases in country. 332,575 total doses of vaccines have been administered in country. 162,973 Bahamians and residents are fully vaccinated. 153,118 have received at least one dose of the vaccine. Well, that does it for news this evening. Once again, I'm Tyler Simonette, and from all of us here at JCN News, have a wonderful evening, everyone.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.